All right, let's find the definite integral here, find the value of this definite integral. So the first thing I need to do is the antiderivative. So this is t cubed over 3 minus t squared over 2. Right, get that? And it's going from -1 to 1. So what that means is I plug 1 in to this, 1 to t for both of these. Whoops, this is cubed. Not that it matters. Right? I plug 1 in first, and then I subtract it from what I get when I plug in -1.
I was doing like, I plugged in 1 and -1 to like the t cubed over 3, and then I like subtracted those and got this.
No.
I did it wrong.
Yeah, you want to do both of them. So this is.
I'm getting it confused.
This is
we learned area.
This is f of 1, and this is f of -1. So the formula, it says that this equals f of 1 minus f of -1. That's the formula you're doing. If this was your f of x, or if this is your f of x now. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this equals 1/3 minus 1/2 minus -1/3 minus +1/2. So let's distribute this. And you can see what happens. The 1/2s cancel each other. Notice I didn't waste time. I just wrote out the whole thing and then I canceled things out, because it usually happens like that. It'll simplify. So those 1/2s canceled out, because one's a negative, one's a positive. And then the 1/3 and the 1/3 adds together and gives you 2/3.
Okay.
So your answer is 2/3. Which again graphically means, if I graph this from -1 to +1, if I graph this function, which by the way, the graph of that function is going to be t times t minus 1. So your zeros are going to be 0 and 1. And it's going to be going up or down from left to right. Since it's a positive, remember I'm doing a quick overview of all the things you've learned up to this point.
Okay.
So I'm trying to graph this thing. T squared plus, or t squared minus t. And the way I graph it is I factor it, take a factor of t out, which means my zeros are 0 and +1, which are here and here, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going, since it's a positive leading coefficient, it's going up from left to right.
Okay.
So it's doing something like this. Whoops, that's not true. I'm so sorry. It's going up. It's a parabola opening up like that. My bad. That was something like this, right? So what I want to find is the area underneath the curve from -1 to +1. So really what I want is, and so what I really should do is I should probably plug in -1 and +1 and see what the values are. When I plug -1 in here, I get 1 plus 1, I get 2. So this value is 2. And this value, when I plug in 1, obviously is 0. So what I have, here's where the aha moment happens. What I have is, this is a positive area, and this is a negative area. And together, if I add this positive area and I subtract this negative area, I'm going to get 2/3 as my answer. That's what you found when you found the integral of that function from -1 to +1.